Teresa Giudice, a star of Real Housewives of New Jersey, has revealed the purported dirt that John Fuda held on her during the reunion for season 13. The manila envelopes were brought by a significant number of the housewives and their partners. However, none of them were opened. So then, what was in his? Teresa is revealing everything, so continue reading to find out what was hidden this whole time. Like the Fudas, Teresa Giudice aspired to be like them. Some of the cast members got together the night before the reunion for the 13th season of Real Housewives of New York to talk about their game plan and what might take place. Dolores Catania, a flip-flopper and a local of Switzerland, claims that it is usual for this group of women and even their males to engage in the following behavior. On the day of the reunion, Andy Cohen was of the opinion that the cast had a habit of conversing before they were required to come out with their guns blazing. There was a lot that happened during the previous season, including Luis Ruiz, Teresa Giudice's husband, saying that he had dirt on everyone. Even more so, he asserted that he had the well-known private investigator Bo Dietl assisting him. At the reunion, a significant number of the cast members arrived with their own proof and envelopes made of manila. In season 14, the cast is still divided down the middle, with some of them staying close to Teresa and others going their own way. This has continued from the previous season. John and Rachel Fuda are an example of a couple that Teresa and Luis have irritated when they were together. The allegations that they made contact with Brittany, John's baby mama, while she was incarcerated are, of course, something that they have rejected. Since then, Teresa has taken matters into her own hands by referring to John as the biggest drug dealer in Bergen County. John was present at the reunion with his smoking pistol envelope, but he never revealed what was contained within it. Now, Teresa Giudice is reportedly revealing what was included within it, as reported by Reality Blurb. She began by talking about Rachel's pajama party that was held this season, to which she had not personally been invited. More than that, she was eager to become friends with them, and she noticed that John was considerate of Teresa's situation when she was incarcerated. The situation quickly deteriorated after that. The envelope containing the smoking gun then, Teresa Giudice went on to explain the context in which she and the Fudas began to have disagreements. Apparently, that was the last straw, and it irritated her in a manner that was utterly inappropriate. After making such charges, there was no way to get back at them. After that, she went on to explain why it was completely illogical for them to not get in touch with John's ex-girlfriend. So, what exactly is the envelope with? That infamous envelope that John Fuda had been lugging about at the reunion. What was it that was contained within it? What is the reason that it was not opened at any point? It came out that it was apparently empty. According to people that Teresa is familiar with, in the end, it seems like a great deal of anticipation was built up for absolutely no reason at all. Did any of the supporters genuinely believe what was being told? By the way, what were they thinking when they said that Teresa was telling the truth about not looking into John's ex-girlfriend? Although no one will ever know the truth, it might not even matter if they do. As the season draws to a close, there is a possibility that the program will undergo a full transformation. Have you come to the conclusion that you believe what Teresa is saying, or do you believe that she is making things up as she goes along? Please let us know, and make sure to tune in to the final episode of the 14th season of Real Housewives of New York on Sunday on Bravo. The drama never sleeps in the Garden State, especially when it comes to Teresa Giudice. The Real Housewives of New Jersey OG isn't just the queen of table flips, she's the queen of survival, and during this season's much-anticipated reunion, she proved once again that she can take the heat and throw it right back. In a moment that had Bravo fans glued to their screens, Teresa finally spilled the tea on what John Fuda had been holding over her head, and why it didn't faze her in the end. The buzz began weeks before the reunion taping, when John teased in interviews and cast parties that he had something big on Teresa. Rumors swirled. Was it a legal threat? A hidden connection from her past? A bombshell accusation involving Louis? But during the reunion showdown, Teresa wasn't backing down, and, in typical Jersey fashion, She came armed with her own receipts. The calm before the storm. Dressed in a shimmering black gown that screamed confidence, Teresa walked onto the reunion stage with her signature smirk, ready for war. "Let's get this over with," she said under her breath, just loud enough for the cameras to catch. From the moment host Andy Cohen introduced the cast, tension crackled in the air. Melissa Gorga sat stiffly, arms folded. Danielle Cabral avoided eye contact with Rachel Fuda, who sat next to her husband John, clearly bracing for impact. But it didn't take long before Andy turned to John and said, "Let's talk about what you teased all season. The so-called dirt you had on Teresa. What was it really?" All eyes turned to John, who adjusted his suit and looked over at Teresa. "I didn't want to bring this out, but since we're being honest, there was someone from Teresa's past who reached out to me. They wanted me to know what kind of person she really was before the show." Teresa's turn. "Oh, you mean that?" Without missing a beat, Teresa leaned forward with a sly smile. "Oh, you mean that guy? The one who sent you a letter trying to cash in on my name?" "Please." The room fell silent. Andy blinked. "Wait, what letter?" John hesitated. It was a letter from someone who said he knew Teresa when she was still married to Joe. He claimed she was involved in, let's just say, questionable behavior. Teresa rolled her eyes. "Questionable behavior? What does that even mean?" "The guy was my hairdresser's cousin's ex-boyfriend. He worked valet at a restaurant I went to like twice. He wanted $15,000 to keep his mouth shut. You call that credible?" The audience gasped. John tried to regroup. The details he shared were lies. Teresa cut in sharply. "And you knew it. But you still ran around telling the other guys on the cast that you had something on me. So what, John? You thought you'd rattle me before the reunion? You don't scare me? A plot to embarrass?" Behind the scenes, Bravo insiders revealed that John had planned to confront Teresa at the reunion with screenshots of a letter and alleged text exchanges from the mystery man. But what he didn't anticipate was that Teresa had already caught wind of it and had her legal team investigate. "Louis and I had our lawyers look into the guy," Teresa revealed. "He has a criminal record, multiple fraud charges. He's tried to extort reality stars before. So congratulations, John. You fell for a scam." Andy Cohen looked stunned. "So you're saying this whole dirt situation was based on a con artist trying to get money?" "Exactly," Teresa said. "And John, instead of protecting the truth, you tried to weaponize it." John looked visibly uncomfortable. "I wasn't going to bring it to the show unless it was real." "But you told people off camera that you had something on me," Teresa shouted. "That's called gossip, not evidence." The cast reacts. The rest of the cast sat in stunned silence, unsure who to side with. Dolores Catania, always one to keep it real, finally spoke up. "Look, if someone's trying to blackmail a cast member and you take the bait, that's dangerous territory. I don't blame Teresa for being mad." Even Margaret Josephs, usually no ally to Teresa, nodded slowly. "I think we've all had people come out of the woodwork. You gotta vet that stuff before you go running your mouth." Rachel Fuda defended her husband gently. "He didn't pay the guy. He didn't bring it to air. He just considered what he'd heard." "But that's the problem," Teresa snapped. "You considered it. You believed it, even for a second. That shows who you really are." Redemption or regression? After the fireworks cooled down, Teresa softened for a moment. "I've made mistakes," she admitted. "I went to prison. My name has been dragged through the mud, but I own it. What they'll do is use lies to tear people down. That's not how I play this game anymore." Fans online praised Teresa's restraint and her willingness to confront the issue head-on. "This is vintage Teresa, but evolved," one viewer tweeted. "She stood her ground without flipping a table." Growth. Others felt John's actions, while questionable, weren't entirely out of line. "He got baited by someone trying to cause drama. It happens in reality TV," wrote one fan. Still, most agreed. Teresa had won the round. She turned the accusation on its head and exposed the behind-the-scenes machinations for what they were. An attempted takedown that fizzled before it ever truly ignited. The final word. By the end of the reunion, Teresa had reclaimed control of the narrative once again. She didn't just defend herself, she outmaneuvered the drama entirely. To anyone watching, she said directly into the camera, "Don't let people from your past try to dim your light, especially the ones who come with lies and a price tag." With that, she stood tall, fixed her hair, and gave Andy a wink. "Tell him I said hi, though." And just like that, Teresa Giudice reminded everyone why she's still the heartbeat of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Unbreakable, unapologetic, and always ready for whatever comes next.